Y'all don't know struggle, okay? You guys don't know what struggling is. Let me tell you about struggling. Remember last year when we were having supply chain issues all over the country? I think we still might be having some. I don't know, because I refuse to talk about supply chain in this house. Let me tell you why. My husband's a logistician. Logistics, supply chain operations, got a big fat degree in it, like a big one. And that was all that was on my For You page. Oh my God. It is the most boring field in the world to listen to, except for when he talks about his portfolio size, which was 30 billion. Billion. Shut up. You look like a fool.
What the hell? Let's talk more about politics on my page, and let's talk about the logistics planning that went into the withdrawal of Afghanistan. For those that are unaware, logistics planning is part of supply chain. Okay, in this White House article from April of 2023, there's a couple of acronyms used, so let's get those acronyms out of the way just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. NSC stands for National Security Council, and it is a committee in the executive branch of government that advises the president on foreign and military and national security. They supervise the Central Intelligence Agency. Another acronym used in this White House article is NEO. And NEO stands for Non-Combatant Evacuation Operations. And it is an ordered or authorized departure of civilian non-combatants and non-essential military personnel from danger in an overseas country to a designated safe haven, typically within the continental United States. So the White House published this document talking about the withdrawal from Afghanistan, and they state that the NCS staff held a senior interagency meeting that included a discussion of several specific complex issues relating to an NEO, including timing, evacuee, destination sites, processing, vetting, and transportation logistics. This article goes on to state, and not a single sortie was missed for maintenance, fuel, or logistical problems. And it was the largest airlift conducted in U.S. history, and it was executed in 17 days. Clearly, that statement from the White House is gaslighting, because the article goes on to state the Department of Defense conducted detailed after-action reviews of the tragic attack that took American and other lives at Abbey Gate, and of the drone strike that tragically killed 10 civilians, and implemented their lessons learned. So clearly they knew something was wrong with their logistics planning and their risk assessment. So this is a classic example of how the government likes to gaslight us. Let's not forget the gap in the logistics planning that left behind over $7 billion worth of military equipment that can later be used to kill who knows how many people. Maybe our military would have done a better job with logistics planning if they weren't preoccupied with trying to save a couple of bucks on windshield wipers for maintenance vehicles. So I've been in supply chain for 30 years. I know people who work in the government. I know people who are in operations that maintain the facilities that's actually part of, you guessed it, logistics. So I'll share a story with you to give you some insight into the government's logistics planning and how they'll cut their nose off to spite their face. So, in an effort to save money, when maintenance vehicles need new windshield wipers, they don't give them two windshield wipers, for the driver side and the passenger side. They only give them one. Now, granted, I'm in California. It very rarely rains here in California, but when it does, it's ugly. So it's pouring like crazy here. And the operations person who's part of the logistics team is driving his maintenance truck with one good windshield wiper on the driver's side. Can't see out of the passenger side because government was too cheap to give him a couple extra bucks just for a extra windshield wiper on that side. Now we've got a pedestrian walking across the street who gets hit on base. It was a civilian that was hit. So for those who don't know about supply chain, risk management is always a factor when it comes to cost savings initiatives, because you want to make sure that whatever money that you're getting in savings, you're not going to end up paying out the back door for ridiculous operation practices like the one I just explained here. This is just one example of why I will never work for the government as a supply chain professional. Because people that are high up in the government and supply chain, they only care about their title. They don't actually care about the processes and how their practices are affecting people on the ground. All this demonstrates is another example as to how screwed up our government processes actually are. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share that story.